Hello and welcome to the Cardiac Cats YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Shorba, and I got some more news for you. The Jacksonville Jaguars are closing in on a deal to add DT Arik Armstead, a 2015 Trent Baalke pick, to the defensive line. Huge move by the Jaguars, something we talked about as well. I don't know if I mentioned it too much on the channel, but I know if you follow me on Twitter, we mentioned this as one of the signings that made sense on Tuesday. Because he was going to get cut. Heard the news then. He is not a compensatory free agent, so it has no impact on the comp pick formula if Ridley walked, which he did. And so the Jaguars, it made a ton of sense. It's a former Baalke pick. It's a good defensive lineman. There's a need there. They don't want to sign a compensatory free agent. And because Calvin Ridley walked, they end up having more money available. Take a look at their cap space right now. Best projection I can get at this moment, assuming Dearness Johnson signs on the same deal he did last year, this is our current cap space. They have restructured, I know, at least $5 million back from Brandon Scherff's contract. So what that means is that the Jaguars should have money to do this move. I don't know how they're going to exactly structure it, if they'll have void years, if it's a multi-year contract. We do not have the details yet. And so I'll keep kind of checking that as we go here in case we get news. I tried waiting a little bit, but not hearing anything new yet. But let's talk about Arik Armstead as a player. He's 30 years old. He is a bit of an older player, but defensive lineman. They play for a long time in the NFL. He will absolutely be able to come here, have an impact for a while, and if they want to keep him, they can, or he could end up walking and getting a comp pick down the road. I don't know how long he'll be here. We're still waiting for that news right now. But he's a hell of a player. He's one of the best defensive linemen on that line for the San Francisco 49ers. He's one of the better ones in the league. You can see how he grades out. You see the sack production. This is all from the interior, which we've talked about before, how hard it is to get interior defensive linemen that can rush the passer at a high level. It's something that Jaguars lacked. You know, Devon Hamilton, I think there's upside there to do it. But he was hurt last year, had a terrible injury, and we have no depth behind him. We have no one there. And so now we bring in someone in Arik Armstead, who just last year has best PFF grade in the pass rush column, 86.5. One of the biggest ones you're going to see, really, for a defensive lineman. So this is a guy who's going to have an impact for the Jaguars. This is an impact signing. He's a damn good football player. I don't know what the price is going to be yet. I'm imagining somewhere in the teens as far as how many $1 million we're talking about. Probably a 1 or 2 year deal. We're going to definitely see on that. And as I said, we're going to keep trying to refresh, see if I can get this news for you right now. But doesn't appear we're going to get it until later today. So I'll probably mention it in our next video because I do want to talk about salary cap, where the Jaguars sit. You can get that news then. And then, of course, on Twitter once it's released, hopefully later today. But this was a surprise signing. The Jaguars, like I said, they have the money to go do this. They obviously missed out on Calvin Ridley. This is one of the benefits of that. You know, sometimes there's good that comes out of bad. And this is an example. The Jaguars are going to beef up their defensive line. Now, how do I feel about the defensive line right now? Getting in Arik Armstead, I feel great about the interior. And I feel really good about having Trayvon Walker in a defensive end role for this team. But I do want to see the Jaguars add a bit more on the edges. I want to see them bring in another pass rusher that can put his hand in the dirt. And I think this team would be very smart to bring in another outside linebacker. That's an ideal world, of course. Might not be able to do all that. But this is a huge step. A really big one for the Jaguars. You're getting in a player who's very good overall, especially as a pass rusher. Love to see it. Hopefully he has an impact for Jacksonville. But that's all I got for you guys. So appreciate you watching. Make sure we don't have any last second contract number here. We do not. So I'll have that mentioned in the next video when we talk about the salary cap situation. But hope you all have a great rest of your day. And finally, go Jags.